Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number, 221. So this one is not going to be as epic as last week. Come on, seriously, that Kevin OLeary vlog, interview, whatever it was pretty amazing. It was so cool. I probably watched it like 5 or 6 times. Something else that was cool, guys, if you missed the Kevin OLeary bad boy makeover that I gave him, guys, I'm going to link to it down below. It's over on the Alpha M YouTube channel. That episode was amazing. It was a lot of fun to go shopping in like regular stores with Kevin OLeary. It's so funny because I'm like, Kevin, have you ever been to the Gap? He's like, never. I'm like, Banana Republic? He's like, no, what the hell is that? And so it was a lot of fun to go in there and go shopping. The other thing that was crazy about doing that, but actually let me set the camera down. Hang on. This lighting is just too good to pass up. All right. So the crazy thing about shopping with Kevin OLeary in the mall, we didn't really know what was going to happen, right? I was talking to his sort of assistant. I'm like, yeah, let's just go to the mall and go shopping. She's like, we can do that? I'm like, well, we can try. And I didn't realize like to what degree famous he was. You know, I go into a mall and, you know, I've got 5 million subscribers on YouTube and I get noticed like pretty frequently depending on where we are. But Kevin OLeary, it was like everybody recognized him or like noticed him. Like it'd be so funny. We'd be walking and you'd just see like everybody like look and be like, oh my gosh, and start pointing. Now the truth is if he wasn't like all dressed up like in his suit and his uniform that you see him in Shark Tank, chances are he would go under the radar. The other thing that was kind of giving us away is that it was me, Kevin, Christian, the guy filming the video, and then my dad and his assistant, Nancy. And so, you know, there was kind of like an entourage, but it was so much fun. Kevin was incredible. He was super cool, and we just had a great time. Something else that's kind of cool that has come out of the Kevin OLeary meeting is that I asked him, I'm like, you know, are you looking for sponsors, sort of to sponsor your Ask Mr. Wonderful series? And he's like, sure, what are you thinking? And I'm like, well, you like the Enemy shades that I put him in. Would you like to start with Enemy and then we're going to send you Tiege Hanley? And if you like Tiege Hanley, we can have you promote that as well. And basically the way that it's going to work, like at the beginning of his Ask Mr. Wonderful episodes, he'll be like, this episode is sponsored by Tiege Hanley, and then talk a little bit about Tiege, link below, use the code Mr. Wonderful, you know, so it's something kind of cool. And honestly, like you don't get much more credibility in terms of having somebody talk about or promote your brand than him. Now, the one thing he did say up front, he's like, I've got to love the products. I've got to love, you know, what I'm promoting because my credibility is at stake. And I get it. I get it. I get it. But anyway, guys, I am waiting for everybody. I got here like 30 minutes early, and so I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to sort of sit down before the craziness starts and go over a few of the business questions from last vlog. There were a few of them, and so let's get to them now. The first question comes from our friend Ken Hicks. What's up, Ken? Great to see you. Thanks for being a part of this. He says, how come you don't advertise your email list? I was a subscriber years ago. I've gotten a survey email 2 weeks ago. The other email was Valentine's Day 2019. I mean, you have a customer that clicked and used your products. I never see you advertising outside of YouTube. Antonio sent me more advertisements than Tiege. So this is a really complicated question and something that I have been sort of on Team Tiege now for a little while. The use of an email list, a customer email list, in order to sort of promote your new products and, you know, bring customers back, it is so incredibly important to utilize that. Now, I was not always a huge believer in the email list. I didn't understand the power of it until my guy at Pete and Pedro, Mike Levy from the Grooming Lounge, he came in and was like, the first thing we're doing is getting this email list situated and straight, because that is the #1 sales tool that you have as a business, because you know that these people were your customers, you know that they loved your product or used it at one point, and for whatever reason they might have stopped or they haven't, you know, used anything in a while, but this is your opportunity. You know they're like super warm because they've actually spent money at your company. And so when Mike came into the picture, he sort of started this like email like strategy and really like massaging and building up this email list. And then the craziest thing to me and the most eye-opening thing for me was up until he came into the picture, in order for me to sort of like sell Pete and Pedro and to generate and increase like sales, I had to promote it, right? It was me coming, doing a YouTube promotion or an Instagram post or a Facebook or whatever, and just being like, hey guys, got a new product, hit that link, go check it out, right? Well, when he came in and started this email strategy, we grew like 30%, not from me, but from this email. I did less promotions in 2019 for Pete and Pedro than I did ever before, and we grew at 30%, and it was strictly because of the email. And so because of the success that I saw with this Pete and Pedro email list from Mike Levy, I said to Tiege, I'm like, yo, we are missing out. And so that is something that we are definitely talking about. We've been talking about it, but you're right. You know, our customer list is not something that we use and sort of communicate as well as we should. And so this is something that we're definitely going to change in 2020, because your email list, your customer list is incredibly hot and it is ready to actually buy your products. And so that's kind of like a business lesson, right? And I get it, right? This is something that Ken, you obviously picked up on, and it's something that we know now that we need to do and really focus on. And I really feel like when we do that, you know, it's going to help Tiege Hanley sort of scale to that next level in terms of profitability. Because when you think about it, right, you know, say we come out with a lip balm, or say we come out with a wash body bar, or an exfoliating body bar, or a deodorant, right? We've got this like massive customer list. And say we send an email and we convert, I don't know, a small percentage, 1% of that list. That's a huge number, and that goes right to your bottom line. And the other thing you need to understand is that when you talk about sort of the expense of acquiring customers, right? What's your customer acquisition cost? You talk about and hear about that number all the time. Well, when it comes to somebody that's already a customer that's sort of sitting there on your list, you've already spent that money. You've already acquired them. And so for you to follow up, it doesn't cost you any more money. And so the customer acquisition cost is already spent. So now that you're your customer, now it's about increasing their value. And so that's something, like I said, Ken, we are working on. It is definitely a topic of conversation and something that we are diligently trying to figure out. But great question. The next question comes from our friend James Humphries. He says, how do you get in state for your videos? You always seem to have energy and you know what to say. Do you ever mess up when recording? Keep crushing it, dude. I've just started my own channel and it's a struggle. So, do I ever mess up? Are you kidding me? If I actually showed you what a filming session of mine looks like, and one of the reasons why I haven't hired a video editor is because the way that I film, I've got like a remote control when I'm in my studio, and I am starting, I am stopping. Every time I F up, I'm starting it again, right? And so I film it in these little like bursts or clips, and I'll film it until I feel I get it right. And typically I'm gonna be standing in one place until I get it right, and then I'll move. And that's one of the ways that I've sort of hacked the system in terms of knowing where, when I sort of import everything into my video editing software, I can sort of go through and see where I was in that position the last, and I know that that's probably going to be the good take, and I'll pull it down and then edit that. But in terms of messing up, yeah, it takes me for for an 8-minute video, it'll take me an hour, hour and a half to actually film it. And so some of them are better, and it really does depend on, who I'm talking, or what I'm talking about, and sort of how much planning I did in order to get ready for that video. But in terms of like how I get my energy up and all that, that is kind of like my thing, right? It's almost like you're putting on this. Have you ever seen the movie Over the Top? And this is such a like crazy analogy, but like Over the Top, it's the arm wrestling movie with like Sylvester Stallone, right? And every time he gets in there, what does he do? Exactly. He turns that hat backwards. And when he turns that hat backwards, it's like a switch that's flipped, right? And he gets all like super psyched. And it is a great movie. If you haven't seen Over the Top, guys, I highly recommend you watch it. Anyway, he flips it around and its switch goes off and boom, he just crushes it, right? Same sort of thing happens to me when I get the camera on and I flip on the lights. It's like, that's it. That is my switch that is flipped. I know that when the camera's on, I've got to bring it. I've got to bring the energy. And something over the years that I've just learned, and also it's so crazy, go back and watch some of my older videos, and like it's totally changed, and it is different. And over the years, I've gotten better at it. And it's something that takes a lot of practice. But for me, my friends like to joke that the most dangerous place in the room is between me and a camera. And because I'm like, I want to be there, right? And I do. I love filming video. I love filming content. And the one thing that I love more than anything is creating video and content. The truth is that for me, I don't need much in order to get ready. I just need a camera. I know that I need to bring it, and that just kind of like energizes me, because when you really love doing something, it doesn't take a lot of work to get there. And so for me, it's kind of natural at this point. and I love it. Now, this vlog is a little bit different, right? It's more casual, but still, I know that I need to bring it to a certain level and degree. Now, not to the frantic, like jumping around and yelling like I do in my other videos, but it's definitely still something that you need to develop and work on. But over time, you will get better. And just think of it like over the top, baby. Flip that switch, turn on that camera, and go. The next question comes from 2 vlogs ago, 219, from our friend Iran Yang. He says, hey, Alpha, how are you able to grow your brand and your channel and keep fresh and interesting content? As when you first start out, barely anyone is going to see your videos, so how do you keep your content fresh? Sorry I'm asking so many questions. I don't remember many questions from you, my friend, but that is a good question. When I started, nobody had done any videos about anything I was talking about. Style, grooming, like anything I wanted to talk about, there was nothing out there like it, or there's no content out there. And so that is one of the reasons why I was able to grow, because I was the first person talking about manscaping and men's style and grooming and stuff like that when the internet, or when YouTube sort of was early. I started uploading content in 2008. That was a super long time ago, and back then it was very different. Now you've got a lot of people that are creating a lot of content. What I would tell you is just be you, be unique, do your own thing, and if it's interesting to you, other people are going to find you. And the truth is that nobody's going to say it exactly like you. One other tip I will give you, if you're looking to kind of like hack the system in terms of growing on YouTube, what I recommend, if there are other people in your space that are doing similar content, look at them and look at their channels and see what videos were popular for them, right? And then what I'd recommend is do your version of that topic, or a topic in that like realm of whatever the popular videos were. And the reason I say that is because you know that people are searching for it. You know that people are interested in it from this person that's doing similar content. And so it's an easy way for you to do that. Somebody who did that in my space, like Alex Costa, he's doing a lot of, similar content to, the stuff that's already been out there. But when he started, he just basically started doing these like topics. He did them in his way, his version, and he was able to grow, fairly fast. He's also really good and all that good stuff. But coming in a little bit later oftentimes is actually a little bit easier in some regard, because you get to see what's worked for other people. It's the early people, the trendsetters, or the people that are, the first adopters that are really, figuring things out. But you can look to them to get inspiration and just do it, man. There's no better opportunity. Where is everybody?
I have no idea.
It was 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Tiege Hanley, I'm at the right Antique Taco. I don't know where the hell anybody else is. So here's the deal. I'm gonna get some coffee and kind of hang out. We've got, what time is it? It is 5 minutes until meeting time. You know what the hardest part about these meetings are for me is not only like getting up early, like I can get up early, that's not a big deal, but they're so long. And what I've come to realize about myself is that because of what I do for a living, making content, I'm up, I'm out, I'm running around. When I come to these meetings, I've got to focus. I've got to sit in one place and I've got to think like really hard. And for me, I'm out of practice. I haven't been in school for a long time, and I've been working for myself for years. And so, my schedule and the way that I live is very like, sort of, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. I'm constant motion. And so my attention span never has to focus on one thing. But when I'm here for these meetings, it's like zoomed in and my brain almost like hurts. By the end of the day, typically we'll go to dinner like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And this is an hour like later than East Coast. It's about time.
What do you mean? I'm right on time. I'm 5 minutes early. Hey guys, how are you?
Filming the vlog, getting this out of the way.
Good. How's your flight?
It was good, good.
Yeah.
You have anything? What are we doing this weekend, or this week?
We're figuring out what we're gonna do this year. We're gonna kill it this year. We need your help, we need your input. We need to talk about it today. That's what's going on.
Things are going well though.
Great.
We've seen it was funny, by, I would say third, fourth quarter last year, we were kind of in this like, sort of, we were trying to figure out what was working, what wasn't working. And so we weren't growing at the rate that we were, but over the course of the past, and this all goes back to like kind of like the discounting and the way that we were sort of changing sort of how we were acquiring customers and really doubling down on making you feel, like you're a part of the family and keeping you longer, as opposed to just trying to get as many people in the door. And so, it freaked me out. but over the course of the past, few months, we've really started to see sort of the fruits of our labor. And that's sort of the hardest thing to do. And I'll just say, like, from my perspective, the hardest thing is to trust, like just to trust the system and trust that what you're doing now is going to work in the future and pay off. And so sometimes you just gotta buckle down and just white knuckle it and let it ride, right?
Exactly. Sometimes we're not always right, but we give it a shot and see if it
There's
works.
the other one.
Hey.
Come and say hello to everybody. I've like finished the whole vlog.
Early.
Huh?
You're early.
No.
You are early.
I'm never early.
It's 52.
Say hello. Rob, say hello.
Hey, Bush. How are you?
That's good. All right, so pretty cool place. We're gonna have a good meeting. Day one is all about sort of the us first. The first part of the meeting is just us sitting down and talking about sort of financials last year. Look at all of the numbers, and then after that, we're meeting with one of our.
We'll meet with some of our advisors today, and we'll look at each core in our discipline. So core is, our marketing team, our operations team. So we look at each core and we evaluate what things we're doing in each core. So we just look at us from a company perspective, what we're doing, and then we just look at each core part of our business to see whether or not that aligns.
Did you get
with
new
the company
glasses?
goal. Yeah.
Look good.
Thanks, man. Feeling good.
Nice.
All right, and then tomorrow?
Tomorrow, then everybody comes in and we hear from everybody, and some people put some presentations together around specific topics. Like we have a recyclability, a half hour on recyclability. We have a half hour on what it means to be customer focused. We have a half hour on research and understanding like what's important to our guys. All the work that Cindy does talking to our advisory board, which is a group of guys that opt in to talk to us on a regular basis. So we bring all that information out, we pull it all together, and then the next day we talk about how we're going to execute on it. Pretty simple.
Simple.
Uncomplicated.
Uncomplicated. that's yeah, and long. And I was explaining like my attention span. I'm like a gnat, and for me to come here and focus like this,
You're doing well right now.
It's hard.
Can I get you a coffee?
Yeah, I need coffee. It's hard though. It's hard. Anyway, guys, that's why I only stay 2 days. I let the grown-ups handle. Yeah, I let the grown-ups handle the third day. Anyway, guys, that's where we're gonna wrap things up. It's gonna be a fun-filled, action-packed meeting, but at this point it is officially 1 minute until 10, and Kelly likes to start his meetings on time, and
Let's do it.
Let's
All right.
do it,
All right,
gentlemen.
see you guys.
We'll see you next
Gotcha.
week. If you've got a business question, down below, start with business question and ask it. And remember, we love you more than our
Double monk strap shoes.
Not those.
not yours. What are those? What are those? See you guys.